Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the public statement hearing for Consolidated Edison's electric and gas rate proceedings, cases 25-E-0072 and 25-G-0073. All lines are muted upon entry. We will begin the hearing at 1 p.m. For technical difficulties, please call 1-800-342-3330. Again, if you're experiencing any technical difficulty, please call 1-800-342-3330. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. Okay, we're going to get started. I just want to make sure that our court reporter is ready to go on the record.
Yes, Judge, I'm ready to go.
Okay. If we're on the record, I call case 25-E-0072, proceeding on motion of the Commission as to the rates, charges, rules, and regulations of Consolidated Edison Company of New York, Inc. for electric service, and case 25-G-0073, proceeding on motion of the Commission as to the rates, charges, rules, and regulations of Consolidated Edison Company of New York, Inc. for gas service. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is James Costello. I am an administrative law judge at the Department of Public Service. I'm accompanied today by administrative law judges Tara Kersey and Nicholas Planty, who are also with me responsible for presiding over the hearings in these cases and the development of a complete record in these proceedings. Assisting us today are Sangeetha Kalis and Esmond Brown Anderson from the Department's Office of Consumer Services. We are all here for a public statement hearing that was noticed on March 11th, 2025. We will be holding additional virtual public statement hearings this evening, starting at 5:30 p.m. and tomorrow starting at 1 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. In addition, we will be scheduling various in-person public statement hearings throughout Con Edison service territory. A notice of those in-person public statement hearings will be issued in due course. I'll now briefly provide some background information. Con Edison filed amendments to its electric and gas tariff schedules on January 31st, 2025, proposing to increase its annual electric and gas delivery revenues for the 12-month period ending December 31st, 2026. Con Edison proposes to increase its electric delivery revenues by approximately $1.6 billion, which represents an 11.4% increase in total revenues. And it proposes to increase its natural gas delivery revenues by approximately $440 million, which represents a 19.1% increase in total revenues. The actual bill impacts of those proposed changes on any particular customer class would vary based upon revenue allocation and rate design. Under New York state law, the Public Service Commission must consider a utility's proposal, and it may adopt it, reject it in whole or in part, or modify it. This hearing is being held so you can provide your comments on Con Edison's proposals for the Commission's consideration. The Public Service Commission has 7 members: the chairperson, Rory Christian, and Commissioners James Alisi, David Valesky, John Majori, Yukina Bright, Denise Sheehan, and Radina Belova. 3 members of the Commission are with us today: a Chair, Rory Christian, Commissioner John Majori, and Commissioner Yukina Bright. So I'm going to turn first to Chair Christian and ask if you'd like to make any comments.
Thank you, Judge Costello. Good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate everyone joining today for this important discussion. Public participation and discourse are essential parts of the process, and I'm looking forward to the conversation on this very important matter before us today. So thank you for making the time to be here this afternoon.
Thank you, Chair Christian. I'll turn next to Commissioner Majori, if you'd like to make a comment.
Thank you. I would join in the chair in thanking everybody who has turned out today to participate and echo his sentiment that the public participation in really anything that comes before us is important. But I also want to acknowledge the tremendous significance of this item. And so I'll be listening particularly carefully to what people have to say, as well as reviewing feedback that comes in through other means. And again, I want to thank everybody for turning out. I'm here to listen. You're not going to hear again from me today, but I very much look forward to hearing what folks who have signed up to participate have to say. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Now I will turn to Commissioner Bright. Would you like to comment?
Thank you, Judge Costello. I would only say that as the chair and Commissioner Majori said, these are public statement hearings are incredibly a valuable part of the regulatory process. So I look forward to hearing people's comments, and I really appreciate people taking the time to be here today. So thank you, and I'll pass it back to Judge Costello.
Thank you, Commissioner. As I mentioned earlier, the purpose of today's hearing is to provide you with the opportunity to tell the Commission your thoughts on Con Edison's rate proposal. This is not an evidentiary hearing where you would provide testimony under oath, nor is it a question and answer session. It's a forum for you to provide comments. We have a court reporter joining us who will prepare a transcript of the hearing, which will be included in the official record of these proceedings. When it's ready, the transcript will be available on the Department of Public Services website. If you are attending but prefer not to speak at a hearing, there are a variety of other ways you can bring your comments to the Commission's attention. Those methods are listed in the March 11th notice, and as indicated in that notice, you can do so through the Department's website, which is www.dps.ny.gov, by regular mail, or by telephone. And regardless of how your comments are submitted, they will be given equal consideration. If you have comments about existing issues with Con Edison bills or customer service, which is fine to, you can make those comments, but Con Edison has requested that we inform you that speakers who need assistance with individual accounts or with customer service issues can contact Con Edison for assistance. And I'm going to give you some information at 212-358-3791 or via email at assist@coned.com. You would provide the name on your account, phone number, service address, and the nature of your inquiry. These methods of communication will be monitored from 9 a.m. through 10 p.m. on April 8th and 9th, and through 5 p.m. on April 10th and 11th. Con Edison indicates that customers will receive an initial response within 24 hours. You can also learn more about your bill and available bill pay assistance by visiting coned.com/bill assistance. After April 11th, you can contact the company through existing channels, which can be found at coned.com/contact us. If you cannot resolve your issues with Con Edison, you can always contact the Department of Public Service Customer Service Helpline at 1-800-342-3377 from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. And you can find further information about the process with the Department of Public Service of any complaints at the department's website, which is again www.dps.ny.gov. Okay, we have approximately 86 people registered to speak at this afternoon's event. And given that number of registrants, we are going to ask you to keep your comments to approximately 3 minutes so that we can make sure to reach everybody who is signed up to speak. When I call your name, please speak slowly and clearly so that the court reporter can accurately capture your comments for the record. Please state and spell your name, and if you are speaking on behalf of an organization, state and spell the name of the organization. If I call out someone and that person is not there, what I will do is continue down the list, and then at the end, I will circle back and call people that were not available at the time. What I'm going to ask you to do, and I'll remind people as we go along, is if you are, given the number of people we have, if you are participating electronically and I call your name to speak, you would please use the raise hand function on your computer, which is at the bottom part of the screen. It just looks like a small hand. And if you are calling in by telephone and I call your name and you're going to speak, you would hit *3 so we can identify you. Okay, so with that, we're going to go to our first speaker, who is Kristen Gonzalez. If you are participating electronically, please hit. And people that I haven't called, please put your hands down. We're going to call people as I'm calling them. So the first person is Kristen Gonzalez. If you're on the line, please hit start. If you're on the line, please hit your raise hand function. If not, hit *3. Okay. And I'm not seeing anybody. So the next person is David Imamura. David Imamura. If you're *3 if you're calling in, and raise hand function if you're on the line. Again, not seeing anyone. Diana Picardo. And I see just Diana Picardo, just give us a moment to locate you and unmute you. Can I ask Esmond or Sangeetha to please locate Diana Picardo? Her hand is raised. And unmute her line. Okay, hello? Your line has been unmuted.
Hello, my name is Diana Picardo. I am here representing the 72nd Assembly District as the Assemblyman's Chief of Staff, and I will be speaking on his behalf. I will be brief and I will just be sharing some points. I've already met with some of the Con Edison team that serve our district, but
If you, I just want to interrupt for 1 second. If you have more than one input or output, you please mute that because we're getting a little feedback issue. So it should just be the one line that you're communicating over and listening over. You can continue. Ms. Picardo?
okay, thank you so much. I've just been unmuted. So the first point I would like to make is 1 in 4 New Yorkers already can't afford energy prices, and a clear majority need policies to make life more affordable for them. An average electric customer could see their bill increase by over 11%, while gas customers could see jumps of more than 13% starting as soon as January 1st, 2026. The state already approved a rate increase of 12% over 3 years for Con Edison electric customers in 2023. Before that, in 2020, Con Ed implemented a state-approved electric rate increase of about 13%, and that also took place over the last 3 years. And we, unfortunately, at this time, reject the Con Edison's rate increases, and we would like to audit the company's management and compensation. At this moment in time, we would also consider revisiting this conversation with your leadership and the assemblyman as well. Thank you so much for allowing me a few minutes to speak on behalf of District 72.
Thank you very much. Okay, our next speaker is Harvey Epstein. Okay, there are various people who have their hands raised, and I ask that you lower them. We're going in the order in which people have registered, and I'm not going to call people before that. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Harvey, if you have registered as a call-in user, please raise your hand. You can do that by pressing star. I believe it's 3 or 6, right?
It's star 3.
Star 3.
Okay, we'll circle back. Zoran Mamdani. Just bear with us while we unmute your line. Okay, you should be unmuted and you can make your statement.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, good afternoon to Judges Planty, Costello, and Kersey, Chair and CEO Christian, Commissioners Maggiore and Bright. My name is Zohran Mamdani, and I'm the New York State Assembly member representing District 36, which includes parts of Astoria and Long Island City. On March 21st, I posted a public comment online and sent a letter to your office urging the PSC to reject Con Ed's 2025 rate case in its entirety and to host in-person public statement hearings to ensure that as many ratepayers as possible participate in the process. I have not yet heard back on that request, and I'm frankly disappointed in the lack of response. However, it is not too late to schedule in-person public statement hearings.
Could I interrupt you just 1 second? As I stated at the outset, we are going to be holding in-person public statement hearings throughout the service territory. They have not been scheduled yet. Once they're scheduled, a notice will be issued. So there has been numerous people that have requested them, and they will be held.
And have you made any statement as to how many will be held and in what parts of the territories?
They're going to be in every location of their service territory. So in the 5 boroughs, including Westchester, and so that's where we'll be holding them. And when they're scheduled, a notice will be issued.
And how many will be held? Because my request had a request for 2 in-person public statement hearings in each borough, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening.
We can talk about it. This is not at the time. I'm just letting you know that we are holding them. If you want, you can call me. I can provide you with my number offline, or I'll send you an email and we can discuss it further.
Well, I would look forward to that because that is what was the core of the request. So thank you for informing me as to that. I will continue to urge that it be 2 and it be at times where all New Yorkers can attend, and that the locations be wheelchair accessible and accessible via public transportation with translation services. Now, to the other portion of my comment, I am going to also go on record and ask the PSC to reject this rate case. While I appreciate that in 2022, the PSC approved a less significant rate increase than what Con Ed proposed, which in turn saved ratepayers collectively hundreds of millions of dollars, my constituents cannot afford another rate increase. For too many AD 36 residents, much like residents across New York City and Westchester, utility delivery costs are already set too high, particularly after Con Ed's most recent rate increase. Statewide in 2022, 1.2 million customers owed $1.8 billion in utility arrears. Any further rate increase, even if approved at levels lower than what is requested, will only increase economic hardship and suffering. Many households will be forced to reduce energy consumption, which can lead to life-threatening conditions in moments of extreme heat and cold. The proposed rate hike also increases Con Ed's return on equity and budgets for a continuation of excessive executive compensation, further reasons to reject the rate hike. I thank you for working with me, my colleagues in the legislature, and our constituents as we voice our concerns over Con Ed's major rate case and request its swift rejection. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Judah Holstein. Okay, your line has been unmuted. You can make a statement.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for hearing from us. I'm Judah Holstein. I serve as the Westchester County Legislator for District 10. I want to be clear that I'm not here today in my official capacity. On behalf of the county, I'm here simply as the elected representative, speaking on behalf of the people I serve. Residents who've reached out to me in growing numbers, deeply concerned about what they're seeing on their Con Edison bills. From the beginning of my term last year, my office has been flooded with calls and emails from constituents opening their bills in disbelief. The increases they're seeing aren't minor, they're sharp and sudden, and they're hitting hardest where it hurts most: working families, seniors on fixed incomes, and small businesses fighting to stay afloat. We are concerned about the lack of transparency. Con Edison has not provided straightforward answers about how the rates are calculated and what exactly customers are being charged for, why the hikes are happening, and the company continues to earn enormous profits. Con Edison is still making large profits. In 2024, the company reported $1.82 billion in profit for common shareholders after covering all expenses and paying out preferred dividends. And that's the money left over for shareholders, even as customers are stretched thinner and thinner. While it's down from $2.5 billion in 2023, it is still an enormous figure, especially when compared with the growing financial strain on everyday New Yorkers. Utilities are not a luxury. They are essential. No one should have to choose between keeping the lights on and putting food on the table. And for too many people right now, that is exactly the choice they're facing. So on behalf of the residents of my district, I am requesting that you reject the increase, demand transparency on the increases that have already taken place, and help us protect our citizens from having their lights shut off. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, I see that Senator Kristen Gonzalez has joined us. Senator, you can make your comments. Just give us a moment to unmute your line. Okay, your line has been unmuted.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm New York State Senator Kristen Gonzalez, and I represent the 59th Senate District, which includes parts of Western Queens, Northern Brooklyn, and the east side of Manhattan, and I'm calling on the PSC to reject these rate hikes. The PSC has a duty to ensure that New Yorkers are charged just and reasonable rates for their energy. Let me tell you, Con Edison's request for an 11.4% increase in electric bills and a staggering 13.3% increase in gas bills is neither just nor reasonable. We're living through a cost of living crisis. My constituents are struggling to make ends meet. Seniors on fixed incomes are having to choose between heating their homes and buying prescription medications. Small businesses are fighting to keep their doors open. Especially in this moment, we cannot allow Con Ed to take $2 billion more from hardworking New Yorkers to pad corporate profits. Con Edison bills are already among the highest in the nation. If this rate increase is approved, the average New York City resident would see their electric bill jump by $14.13. Gas customers would be hit with an astronomical $46.42 increase. Con Ed already generates $15 billion in annual revenue and operates with a 9.35% return on equity, otherwise known as profit. And Con Ed has already raised rates 3 times over the past 3 years, with the most recent hike taking effect just in January. If Con Edison wants to increase their profit, they need to find energy efficient solutions that help us meet our climate goals by 2030. They shouldn't be allowed to simply reach deeper into the pockets of struggling New Yorkers. The path to a more affordable New York cannot include these predatory rate hikes. I stand with Governor Hochul in calling on the Public Service Commission to reject this proposal and urge them to hold an in-person public hearing in New York City and Westchester to ensure all voices are heard. Thank you.
Senator, I just wanted to point out, at the outset of the hearing, I indicated that we will be holding in-person public statement hearings in all 5 boroughs, including Westchester, as well as
Great.
Westchester.
That is wonderful to hear,
they
and
have
would
not-
certainly, want them to be accessible to every New Yorker. So if there's language access, physical accessibility, and any other considerations, I'd love to see that happen.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Thank you so much.
Okay, our next speaker will be Erica Pierce. Okay, your line has been unmuted. You can make your comment. And if your line is muted on your end, you would have to unmute it there as well, because we cannot hear you.
I am reading on behalf of the legislator. I'm Robert Byrne, her legislative aide.
Oh, could you spell the name for the court reporter, please?
Yep.
And who we just started hearing you, so I didn't hear who you're speaking on behalf of. I guess you're speaking on behalf of Erica Pierce. And then please let us know your name as well.
Legislator Erica Pierce, and I represent Westchester's 2nd Legislative District. Part of my district receives electric via Con Ed, with a larger chunk receiving natural gas. I, like everyone here today, am here to share that the rates are already too high. Residents in the district frequently send me their bills, and the degree to which they have increased in the last few years is alarming. Most every bill now has a delivery component, which is larger than the supply component, sometimes by more than a factor of 3. I've received bill copies from residents who are away for the entire billing period and yet still had bills that came in the 4-figure range. Con Ed's bills have gone sky high because of a series of increases, including the most recent round beginning in 2023. Now on January 31st, as we all know, Con Ed filed another $2 billion request to increase rates, which is what we're here about today. If approved, the proposal would increase electric bills by an average of 11.4% and gas bills by 13.3% starting in 26. This amounts to a 25.1% increase on the delivery bill, which we were just already talking about. As I mentioned, I have more than one utility in my district, and so I know how unique this particular set of facts is for Con Ed customers. If ratepayers cannot pay the bills today and further cannot reduce them sufficiently by turning down the heat, etc., how are they supposed to pay for yet another increase? Let me remind you that these ratepayers cannot choose another utility. They are stuck with Con Ed. It is critical that you hold in-person hearings in Westchester so that everyone here, including our less tech-savvy seniors, have the opportunity to share their pain and their stories directly with you. So I please beg that those get added to your schedule. In reviewing the request for the rate increase, I am left with questions. What infrastructure upgrades for Westchester ratepayers are included? As best as I can find, there are none, but this document is not easily accessible, so it is hard to tell. I don't understand how my constituents are supposed to be able to understand what is happening to them if I can't, even with the benefit of a law department to lean on. We also need to know why it seems some ratepayers have even larger delivery costs than their neighbors. And we need to know exactly where this money is going. Revenue and profits for Con Ed both are up, and its stockholders are doing well. To what extent is that on the back of ratepayers? Transparency is critical and yet missing. Electricity is not a nice to have. It is a need to have, and the current bills are out of control. We need a better system to make certain the amount ratepayers are being asked to cover is appropriate, and we need the PSC to help restructure the system so that our utilities are being treated like the public service entities they effectively are. New Yorkers should not be left to have to choose between food, medicine, and electricity. Thank you for your help.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Kenneth Jenkins. If you are participating electronically, you would use the raise hand function. If you are participating by telephone, you would hit *3. That's Kenneth Jenkins. Okay, just give us a moment to unmute your line. Okay, your line has been unmuted. Hello, we can barely hear you. Mr. Jenkins?
Is that better?
You're coming across, but it's very low.
Is that better now?
Yes, it is. Now it's better.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, and thank you to the members of the Public Service Commission for the opportunity to speak to you today on behalf of the residents and businesses of Westchester County. As the Westchester County executive, I'm here today because I refuse to sit silently while Westchester County residents are asked to shoulder yet another unreasonable utility rate increase. That's why I signed this legislation that passed unanimously with bipartisan support from our Board of Legislators, officially making Westchester a party to the major Con Ed rate case here in New York State. Working class families cannot afford to pay more for an essential service. They are drowning. I'm here on behalf of all working class families, seniors on fixed incomes, and our small business owners who are already doing everything they can to make ends meet. Forcing people to choose between lighting and heating their homes and buying groceries is not just bad policy, it's unacceptable. My message is simple. Con Ed cannot continue to pass their costs on to the backs of the ratepayers, and certainly not without transparency, without accountability, and without real justification. The Public Service Commission needs to pull the plug on Con Edison's plan. And let me be clear, we absolutely support the need for reliable infrastructure and a clean energy future. But that future cannot and must not come at the expense of affordability. This is a fight for fairness. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for advising that there will be in-person public hearings right here in Westchester County and the 5 boroughs. We look forward to working with the Department of Public Service to an in-person public meeting here in Westchester. Residents and business owners deserve this opportunity to ask those questions, get answers, and be heard, not just on paper, not just online, but face to face. We urge the PSC to reject this proposed rate increase in its entirety. Westchester County will continue to push back against this proposed hike with everything that we have because our communities deserve better. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. And I just, for clarity of the record, I just want I'm an administrative law judge. The chairperson of the commission is on the line and he's listening to the comments, as well as 2 other commissioners, Commissioner Majori and Commissioner Bright. So thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Stephanie Utterback. If you are participating by telephone, please hit *3. And if you are participating electronically, you would hit the raise hand function at the bottom of your screen. Okay, I am not seeing anyone, so I'm going to move on to Donna Sheriffs. And as a general, just a general statement, if I mispronounce anyone's name, I apologize. I'm doing the best I can. So Donna Sheriffs, if you're on the line, *3 if you're participating by telephone, and the raise hand function if you're participating electronically. And I do not see anyone. We'll move on to Kelly Verdeshi. Kelly Verdeshi. If you are participating by telephone, it would be *3. I do not see anyone. I'm going to move along to Stacy Karras. And again, *3 or the raise hand function. Okay, we'll move along. Anyone that I'm calling, that just again for the general information, that I'm calling that they're not here now, I'll circle back at the end and call them again. So our next person is Megan Corbett. Megan Corbett. Okay, your line has been unmuted.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am a taxpayer and ratepayer in Rye, New York, Westchester County, and we are being burdened with exceptionally high Con Ed bills. As one of the earlier speakers mentioned, the delivery charges, for which you can do nothing, are often 3 times your usage. What I'd like to point out to the commission and everyone here is Con Ed is not a utility. It is a publicly traded stockholder company. They have executives, they have shareholders, there's a dividend, and quite honestly, these people are doing very well out of the rates Con Ed charges. Now, it would seem possible for Con Ed to reinvest some of the proceeds of their rates in making services more affordable, in making storm sufficient, what would you call it? Burying wires, providing equipment that will survive the Hurricane Sandys of today. I myself was out for 8 days after Sandy, and that's a really long time. I know people were out for 2 weeks. So I would urge Con Ed, and I would urge the county and the commission to reject these rate increases and to really look at restructuring Con Ed so that it's actually a utility and not a shareholder corporation. Thank you for your time. I wish you all the best, and I'll look forward to an in-person meeting here in Westchester.
Thank you for your comment. Okay, I'm going to go on. We have a number of speakers that have registered to speak on behalf, or they're employees of SEIU Local 32BJ. They're all participating on the same, off of the same computer. So once I could ask you to just hit this, if you're on a computer, the raise hand function, and if not, the *3 function. Okay, just give us a moment to unmute your line. And again, just as a reminder, we're trying to ask people to stick to around a 3-minute limit. Okay, the line has been unmuted, and the first person that I have listed for Local 32BJ is Alex Hecht.
All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Alex Hecht, and I'm a lead researcher at Local 32BJ of the Service Employees International Union. We're a union of 180,000 building cleaners, apartment building staff, security officers, and other service workers, including 90,000 members here in New York. And we're here to urge the Public Service Commission to freeze Con Ed rates so that our members in the city and in Hudson Valley can afford to stay in New York and support their families. 32BJ first started studying the issue of skyrocketing utility prices when over 100 cleaners at Con Edison facilities in New York City came together in an effort to join 32BJ and fight for good jobs. Those cleaners are employed by various service contractors, and many are paid poverty wages with no employer health benefits. And partly due to their low pay, some of the workers who clean Con Ed buildings told us that they could not afford their own Con Ed utility bills. But after talking to our members about this issue, we learned that the problem is much, much bigger than that. Thousands of 32BJ members are also struggling to keep up with their electric and gas bills. These are service workers with good union jobs paying middle-class wages. Our members tell us they're sometimes forced to choose between paying their utility bills and paying for other basic necessities. And if our members can't afford another rate hike, then New Yorkers as a whole cannot either. Now, every few years, the state and Con Ed do the same dance. First, Con Ed asks for a steep rate hikes and excessive return on equity. That's a measure of how much profit a company makes for every dollar invested by its shareholders. Then, the Public Service Commission holds hearings and negotiates for months with Con Ed. And finally, the state slightly reduces the rate hikes and the allowed profits, for example, lowering the return on equity from 10% to maybe a little over 9%. And the state says it scored a major victory for New York customers. But in reality, a fair return on equity for a regulated utility like Con Edison would be closer to 6%, not 9 or 10. And that's according to a major new report by the American Economic Liberties Project. In other words, This report suggests that Con Ed has been overcharging New Yorkers for years to the tune of what likely amounts to billions of dollars in excess profits. We're currently investigating and quantifying these excess profits and will be releasing a report with our findings soon. Now, we believe it's time to stop this overcharging. Con Edison can afford to freeze rates and hire responsible contractors that will provide good jobs. And we urge other advocates to join us in calling for a rate freeze. It's not enough for the PSC to reject Con Ed's initial over-the-top request, as it always does. To actually deliver for working families in this city, the state must freeze the rates right where they are. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next person I have listed is Yesenia Cruz.
Give us one moment.
Good afternoon. My name is Yesenia Cruz. I'm a member of 32BJ. I've been working with them for 8 years. This is something that it strikes me. I'm a mother of 7, and the issue right now is if they bring up the rates, I am not going to be able to pay those rates. Even with the amount that I make, there's no way that I can. I have my son that's helping me out. My other children, they have, some form of mental disability that they cannot help me out. I'm just asking, please, as a mother, as a single mother, bring down those rates, freeze them. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker I have listed is Lachelle Grell.
Yep, one moment.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Michelle Grell. I'm from the Bronx. How are you today?
Thank you. Very fine. Thank you.
I work at Madison Square Garden. I've been working there for 19 years. And the rates that I make, I'm not able to pay the client. It's too much for me. I can't barely afford to pay my rent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Our next speaker would be Jason Yard.
Yes, be right up.
Con Edison expects its capital expenditure to be $5.12 billion in 2025 and $8.7 billion in 2026. Con Ed has used climate change as an excuse to raise rates on energy costs in New York City, like it has in California. If this is so, what are these costs to justify rate hikes of 11% for electricity and 13% for natural gas? Low-income families and small businesses are already considered energy cost burden. If you raise the rates now in this time of inflation on food and many other goods imported to the U.S., you will further encumber small businesses' ability to operate. There is a high affordability crisis when it comes to housing in New York City. These rate hikes will be devastating for renters and homeowners who already have increasing rates to their rent and mortgages. How you doing? I'm Jason Yard, 32BJ member.
Thank you for your comments, Jason Yard. Our next speaker is Freddie Nunez. I just ask all of the speakers, when you start, please just state your name and spell it so that the court reporter has it clearly spelled on the record.
Okay, this is Will Rojas, organizing coordinator with 32BJ. I will be translating for Freddie Nunez. He's going to testify in Spanish.
Hola, mi nombre es Freddy Núñez, vivo en el Bronx junto a mi esposa. Trabajo con limpieza con Nelson Service en 4 Irving Plain.
Hello, my name is Freddie Nunez. I'm 56 years old. I live in the Bronx with my spouse. I work as a cleaner at Con Edison's with the contractor Nelson at Con Edison's facilities at 4 Irving Place. I've been working there for 3 years.
Los beneficios son malos. Gano 16,50 cada hora. Los beneficios son malos. No tengo asistencia médica.
I earn $16.50 an hour. The benefits are bad. I don't have health care because it's too expensive.
Trabajo mucho para llegar al fin de mes, pero mis cuentas están creciendo y creciendo. El año pasado, más que el año pasado, el mes pasado pagué 68,65 de luz. Ahora me llegó el recibo de 109, casi 40 pesos más, 40 dólares más. No es justo.
So I work hard to make ends meet, but my bills get bigger and bigger. In the past year, I paid, in the last month, I paid $68.65 in electricity, and recently that bill went up to $109.
Si se aumentan las tarifas, me afecta mucho. Tendré que dejar de comer para poder pagar la luz. Es por eso que estoy aquí hoy.
So a raise hike would affect my family dramatically, and this is why I'm here today.
Necesitamos una congelación de tarifas ahora. Muchas gracias.
That's why I'm here today. I can't afford another bill going up. I'm asking you to say no to Con Edison's rate hike for me and for essential workers. We need a rate freeze now. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Elizabeth Tejada.
I will also be translating for Elizabeth.
Bueno, tuve que hablar.
Hello, mi nombre es Elizabeth Tejada, vivo en Manhattan con mi hermana, trabajo para la compañía UBA en el edificio de Con Edison en el 328 de Southern Boulevard.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Tejada. I live in Manhattan with my sister. I work as a cleaner for contractor UBM at Con Edison's facility, 328 Southern Boulevard. I have worked there for 10 years.
Gano $16.50 cada hora, los beneficios son malos, no tengo asistencia médica porque es bastante caro.
I also earn $16.50 an hour. The benefits are bad. I don't have health care because it's too expensive.
Trabajo mucho para el fin de mes, pero mis cuentas están creciendo y creciendo. El año pasado pago más de la renta, mi teléfono, mi comida, el transporte.
I work hard to make ends meet. But like my coworkers, my bills are getting bigger and bigger, and in this past year, I pay more for rent, I pay more for my telephone bill, I pay more for food, and I pay more for transportation.
Si aumentan las tarifas, ¿cómo lo afecta a usted y a su familia? Bastante. Mi hermana y yo somos dos, mi hermana está retirada, no podemos pagar esto.
So if they do a rate hike, it would affect my family dramatically. Me and my sister it's only us. My sister's retired. We cannot pay anymore.
Es por eso que estoy aquí. No puedo pagar esta tarifa. Estoy pidiendo que ustedes digan no a este aumento de tarifa de Con Edison.
That's why I'm here today. I can't afford another bill going up. I'm asking you to say no to Con Edison's rate hike. We need a rate freeze now. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Braulio Rodriguez.
Yes. So who's going to go for
Braulio couldn't make it today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Braulio was not able to make it today. Thank you.
All right, that's fine. Then we'll go on to Maria Cordero.
I will also be translating for Maria.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Cordero. Vivo en el Bronx con mi hija y con mi esposo. Trabajo como limpiadora con Nelson en Connecticut por Even Play. Allá llevo ya por 9 meses. Gano la hora a 16.50.
Hello, my name is Maria Cordero. I live in the Bronx with my husband. I work as a cleaner for Nelson Cleaning Services in Con Edison's facility at 4 Irving Place. I have been an employee at that location for close to 9 months. I earn $16.50 an hour.
Los beneficios son malos, por lo que no tengo asistencia médica, porque son bastante caras. Trabajo mucho para llegar al fin de mes, pero mis cuentas están creciendo y creciendo.
So I the benefits are also bad. I don't have health care because it's too expensive. I work hard to make ends meet. The bills continue to get bigger and bigger. In the past year, I pay more for light, rent, internet, transportation, and food.
Si aumentan la tasa de la luz y de todos los aumentos, nos afectan en todo porque tendríamos que recortar todos los gastos. No podemos comprar nada adicional, no podemos hacerlo. Tendríamos que comprar algo para mí, para asumir los gastos.
If they raise the rates, this would affect us tremendously. Everything would go up. We would not be able to buy things. We would not be able to, all of our costs of living will go up.
Es por esto que mi compañero y yo estamos aquí. No podemos pagar más en la tarifa. Estoy pidiendo que digamos no a este aumento de tarifa con Edison. Para mí y todos los trabajadores esenciales necesitamos una congelación de la tarifa ahora. Muchas gracias.
That's why I'm here with my coworkers today. We cannot afford another bill going up. I am asking you to say no to Con Edison's rate hike. For me and for all the essential workers, we need a rate freeze now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Bernard Belliard.
Yes, I will be also translating for Bernard. Coming right up.
Mi nombre es Bernardo Belliard, tengo 54 años. Vivo en Queens.
My name is Bernardo Belliard. I'm 54 years old and I live in Queens.
Trabajo como limpieza contratado para Nelson Serving en el 4 de Irving Place.
I also work as a cleaner for Nelson System Services in Con Edison's location, 4 Irving Place. I have worked there for close to 4 months.
Tengo 4 años, gano 16.50 cada hora. Los beneficios son malos, no tengo la asistencia médica porque es bastante caro.
I also earn $16.50 an hour. The benefits are bad. I don't have health care because it's too expensive.
Trabajo mucho para llegar al fin de mes, pero mis cuentas están creciendo y creciendo. En el año pasado pago más para todo como comida y el gasto de la luz.
I work hard to make ends meet. My bills keep getting bigger and bigger. In the past year, I pay more for food. I pay more for electricity.
Si se aumentan las tarifas, no afecta muy mal. Lo que ganamos no sé qué podemos hacer. Necesitamos más salario para pagar todo.
If you raise the rates, it would affect me really bad. We don't earn enough to pay for things now. We need a better salary, and we're asking for a rate freeze.
Es por eso que estoy aquí hoy. No puedo pagar esta tarifa. Estoy pidiendo que ustedes digan no a este aumento de tarifa. de Edison para mí y para todos los trabajadores esenciales. Necesitamos una congelación de tarifa ahora. Muchas gracias.
And that's why I'm here today. I can't afford another bill going up. I'm asking you to say no to Con Edison's rate hike for me and for all essential workers. We need a rate freeze now. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Antonella Loja.
Antonella isn't here today.
Okay. Then our next speaker will be Victor Voice.
Yep, coming right up.
Good afternoon. My name is Victor Boyce. I live in Jamaica, Queens, New York. I'm a porter at St. John's University. I'm here with 32 BJ. I've been a member for 30 years. I make a decent wage, and I've been working for many years with 32 BJ, but as the rent, food, gas goes up, it's becoming a struggle to live in New York City. So I'm here today to ask for a freeze on the rates.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Safit, and I don't know how to say this, but Gajida?
Yes, Judea, thank you. Hi, my name is Safa Judea. I am a union member. I would like to ask Con Edison to freeze the price in order for us, to have a better living with many problems as we're facing in rent, food, gas prices, and on. We barely could make it, and I really don't want to live under poverty. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for your comment.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, I just would like to ask the local if they could use the raise hand function and lower their hand so we can go on to our next speaker. Thank you. Our next speaker is going to be Westchester County Legislator David Imamura.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thanks so much for having this. As discussed, I'm David Imamura. I'm a Westchester County Legislator representing District 12. That includes Dobbs Ferry, Ardsley, Hastings, Edgemont, Hartsdale, and Irvington. I'm speaking today against Con Ed's proposed record rate hikes. At a time rife with inflation, tariffs, and instability, I would say it's an abomination to ask working people to pay to keep their lights on and their houses warm. When the CEO of Con Ed is making $16 million a year and Con Ed is paying out millions of dollars in shareholder dividends, it's a disgrace for Con Ed to cry poverty and force Westchester residents to pay more for basic necessities. As the Commission knows, Con Ed is a state-created monopoly. Residents in my districts have no choice but to utilize Con Ed. And for Con Ed to take advantage of their monopoly to enrich their shareholders and their senior leadership is absolutely unacceptable. I urge the Commission to reject these absurd rate increases and hold Con Ed accountable for forcing regular people to pay for $16 million in salaries for a single person. I thank you so much for doing this. I was the chair of a state commission once, and I remember having 10, 12-hour hearings, so I know how difficult it is. But thank you so much for doing this, and I look so forward to seeing you in Westchester.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, we're going to go on to our next speaker, and just as a reminder to everyone, please state your name. If you're representing an organization, state the name of the organization and spell your name and the organization as well for the court reporter. So our next speaker will be Rita Reynolds. If you are participating by telephone, you would hit the *3 button, and if you're participating electronically, you would hit the raise hand function on the screen. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone, so I'll move on to David Schwittick. David Schwittick. not seeing anyone. Move on to Mark Svensson. Mark Svensson. Again, star 3 if you're calling in, and the raise hand function if you're participating electronically. Not seeing anyone, we'll go on to Dion Lewin. Dion Lewin. Okay, I'm going to move on to M. Chiu, C-H-I-U. If you're participating by telephone, it's a star 3, and electronically is the raise hand function. And move on to our next speaker, Mirak Radparvar. Mirak Radparvar. Not seeing anyone. Alan Goidel, G-O-I-D-E-L. If you're calling in, it's...
Your Honor, we have a raised hand, so I think there was an earlier
Okay,
request.
please just identify yourself for the record.
My name is Mirak Radparvar.
Okay. Could you just spell that for the core reporter, and then you can make your statement?
Sure. Last name is R-A-D as in dog, P as in Peter, A-R, V as in Victor, A-R.
Okay, and you can make your statement.
Most people within Con Edison should know who I am because I have been dealing with Con Edison since 2020 over these charges of Con Edison, which is absolutely ridiculous. I've been dealing with the Public Service Commission since 2020, okay, over all these overcharges. It is absolutely ridiculous that we have between the CEO and the CFO of Con Edison making $23 million, while every household in Westchester County and Bronx and New York has to sit here in the dark because they're afraid of paying their Con Edison bills. They can't afford it. Okay, this is absolutely ridiculous. Con Edison is worse than the mob, and all this green news scam needs to stop. Okay, it is absolutely not fair what they are doing to the people and how our governor is allowing this. The Public Service Commission is allowing this. I have gone as far as speaking to the Federal Trade Commission, Mr. Andrew Ferguson. Okay, it's easier to contact him than contacting the head of the Public Service Commission. Okay, most people within New York don't even realize that you can be in two different households next door to each other and you're paying different rates for the same electricity. That is absolutely absurd. That should not be allowed. Okay, this is nothing but a monopoly, and Con Edison needs to be replaced. It is absolutely ridiculous. We are suffering. We cannot pay our bills. We are sitting in the dark, and nothing that Con Edison keeps telling you to do is bringing down your Con Edison bills. Change to LED. Well, LED is poisonous to the people. Okay? We changed everything to LED. Our Con Edison didn't come down at all. Instead, it went up. Change your meters. Put EMS meters into your house. They're nothing but toxins, okay? Radiation going through your walls, but no one cares. Nothing is getting less. Nothing is happening except our bills are getting higher and higher. Con Ed is worse than the mob, and it needs to be stopped. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Our next speaker is Alan Goidel, G-O-I-D-E-L. If you're participating by telephone, please hit star 3. Otherwise, use the raise hand function. Not seeing anyone. And Ms. Radparvar, thank you. You took care of that. Okay, Kathy Glass. Kathy Glass. If you're calling in, please hit star 3.
Hello?
Hello, is this Ms. Glass?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes. You can make your statement. Just please state and spell your name for the record.
Yes, I am Kathy Glass, C-A-T-H-Y, Glass, G-L-A-S-S, and I represent myself. And my contribution to this meeting is very short and very simple, but I think it will resonate with all New York residents. I'm a 76-year-old widow living with my daughter on a limited income in a small 22-square-foot house. And my last Con Ed bill was a shocking $900. My daughter and I rarely are home and already keep the heat at 60 degrees. My Con Ed bills are fantastical, sometimes over $1,000. Most New York residents, especially seniors, cannot afford these services, which are not a luxury you choose, but a necessity that you must have. I maintain that not only should we not allow Con Ed to raise their rates, but make it a mission to find ways to decrease them. I feel, as many do, trapped in having to use Con Ed, which is a monopoly, with the power to present astronomical fees, which I have no other option to do but to accept. This makes me and others feel helpless, frustrated, and stressed every time I get a bill. I suggest that Con Ed not raise their rates, they are frozen, but use their healthy profits to reduce their current fees so that people do not have to sit in the dark. Thank you.
Thank you. And please just hit the *3 function again so we can lower the hand and we can recognize our next speaker. Ms. Glass, please hit the *3 function again. Thank you so much. Okay, our next speaker will be Andrew Newman. Andrew Newman, if you are calling in, you would hit *3 on your phone. If not, you're participating electronically, you would use the raise hand function. Okay, not seeing anybody. I'll move on to Sheila Collins. Sheila Collins. If you're calling in, it's *3. Okay, I'm going to move on to Miriam Lugo-Pagan. That's Miriam Lugo-Pagan. And if you're participating electronically, it's the raise hand function. And if you're calling in, it's *3. We'll move on then to Daniel Burns. Daniel Burns. Okay, not seeing anyone. Ainsley Walsh. Ainsley Walsh, if you're calling in, it's *3. Okay, not seeing anyone. Anna Peppa. Anna Peppa. Okay, we'll move on to our next registered speaker, Amy Aquino. Amy Aquino. If you're calling in, it's *3. Okay, moving on to Madeline Mound. Madeline Mound. I'm not seeing anyone. We'll move on to Rosa Patino. That's Rosa Patino. If you're calling in, it's *3. We'll move on to our next listed speaker, Suzanne Lester. Suzanne Lester. We'll move on to Robert Severance. Robert Severance, if you're on calling by telephone, you would hit *3 on your phone. Okay. We'll move on to Peter Bianchi. Peter Bianchi. Okay, our next speaker would be Gabriela Romero. That's Gabriela Romero. If you are participating by telephone, you would hit *3. Okay, not seeing anyone. And I noticed there is a person, Latifah Field. I'm sorry, who is speaking? There's a person on, Latifah Field. We have registered speakers. I'm calling the speakers in the order in which they've registered. So I do not have you listed as the next speaker, so I'd ask you to lower your hand. Okay, Gabriela Romero. Okay, we'll move on to Lori Mastrangelo. Lori Mastrangelo, if you're calling in, that would be *3. Okay, we'll go to Gamzee Salen. That's Gamzee Salen. All right, Kimberly Scarcella. And Ms. Fields, I'm not going to be calling on you until we get to your name or until we get through the rest of the list of speakers. Okay, Ilan Rabinovich. That's Ilan Rabinovich. Okay, just bear with us while you should be unmuted now. And you can make your statement. Just please state and spell your name for the record.
Sure. My name is Ilan Rabinovich, ILAN RABINOVITCH. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'll try to keep it brief. I'm not here to begrudge anybody a profit or to tell you to cap somebody's salary. I encourage everybody to make a living as best they can. But I do want to remind you that the increases that Con Ed has asked for here far exceed what rent stabilized properties are allowed to increase rents by in New York, and that has been the case for several years now. So I sympathize and empathize with any companies that are struggling with property taxes or regulatory costs from the state. But I want to remind you that while Con Ed is a monopoly that I have no ability to negotiate with on rates, and can set them to whatever they want, I, as a rent stabilized property owner, cannot raise rents to match their increases by anything other than what the city allows. So I would encourage us as both of us who are businesses, I think we should be going after the state or after city regulators about reducing your costs so you can maintain the margins you feel that you need to maintain. But coming after rent stabilized property owners is for additional funding is problematic. Our Con Ed bills, especially around gas in the winter months, already exceed our rent roll in the thousands of dollars. And so this is highly problematic. As Con Ed as a business knows, you can't operate at a loss. Similarly, I realize that this is a public service commission hearing, but I know we have a lot of elected officials listening. When you're at the rent guidelines board hearing later this year, over the summer, talking about rent freezes and rent rollbacks, remember that it's Con Ed here that raised the costs of providing housing, and you can't freeze our rents while you allow Con Ed to raise theirs. So thank you very much, and appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Our next speaker, I see, has joined us, Harvey Epstein. if you're Hari Epstein, you just have to hit the raise hand function. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they didn't unmute me yet, so thank you.
Okay, sure.
Thank you for allowing me to testify here about the proposed rate hike. So we in New York City have a working class crisis going on. We've lost 200,000 working class New Yorkers in the last decade. And what we've heard time and time again is the cost of living in New York is becoming more and more impossible to maintain. I talked to residents all over my district. I represent 140, 150,000 people on the east side of Manhattan. And they tell me time and time again that the reason New York becomes more and more unaffordable is as rent and utilities continue to go up. And we're talking about a huge rate hike for Con Ed when there's no guarantee that any of this rate hike will go to clean technology. We talk about a bill called the New York Heat, which forces Con Ed to ensure, and other utility companies to ensure that all the money that they're spending is moving towards clean technology to reduce long-term energy costs. Nothing in this proposed rate hike or nothing in what you're proposing to potentially comment on will allow a commitment to ensure that any upgrades or any work being done will be done with clean technology. So the question you have to decide for yourselves is a question about the future of New York. And the future of New York really depends on whether people continue to function and afford to live here. We just heard from a rent-stabilized landlord who talks about the inability for him to continue to pay the cost of the increase, the effect that it is on his property. So you hear that from the landlord, the tenant's position is tenfold more difficult. If we want to be a city of just the elite and the extremely low income, that's allowing this rate hike to go forward will be exactly what we'll get. If you actually believe that we need to have a robust, vibrant middle class and working class in New York, then a rate hike is not appropriate at this point. A rate hike just hurts regular New Yorkers who are experiencing really difficult times right now with the potential cuts are on the federal level. We're seeing tens of thousands of people losing their jobs. We're seeing the economy go into the toilet. And the idea that a rate hike will just be just another thing that people can be able to swallow, it's just not true. I've talked to people recently who said, specifically just relationship to this rate hike will just push them over the edge and they'll have to leave New York. So I encourage you, as you're thinking through this decision and the impact that it will have on the millions of New Yorkers, that you don't agree to a rate hike. You make sure you hold their feet to the fire. Make sure the utility companies have the responsibility to move towards clean technology, to reduce our long-term costs, and to fight for regular New Yorkers. That is your responsibility. That is my responsibility. That is a collective responsibility. And I encourage you to deny this rate hike and stand up for regular New Yorkers who need you today.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Kelly Novak.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Okay, yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. My name is Kelly Novak. That's Kellynnovak, and I'm a legal aid with the Public Utility Law Project, which is spelled just like it sounds, also known as PULP. Good afternoon to the commissioners and to administrative law judges Costello, Kersey, and Planty, and thank you to the Department of Public Service for the opportunity to comment today. PULP, for those who are unfamiliar, is a 40-year-old nonprofit with the mission of educating, advocating, and litigating on behalf of New York State's low-income utility customers. We're an active party in both cases and will be submitting testimony next month. It is critical that the Commission appreciate how many Con Ed customers are already struggling to pay their bills and how understandably nervous and upset they are about the bill increases to come. At PULP, we speak with these customers every single day. We have many concerns about how rate increases will impact low and moderate income customers across Con Edison's service territory. And today I'll speak briefly specifically about Con Ed customers in New York City. As mentioned in other comments, Con Edison has estimated that if approved by the Public Service Commission, the average New York City residential customer's bill would increase by approximately $14 per month on the electric side and $46 per month on the gas side. This could mean an increase of $60 per month for a customer with Con Ed electric and gas service in New York City. So many New Yorkers already face significant challenges just getting by, and for too many, paying one bill comes at the expense of paying another. With the staggering costs of housing, food, healthcare, and childcare in New York City, we at Pulp work with customers every single day who are literally choosing between which basic needs they can pay for. Unfortunately, this shouldn't come as a surprise. According to a report just released by the Poverty Tracker Research Group, in 2023, New York City's poverty rate hit a whopping 25%, which is nearly double the national poverty rate. 2 million New Yorkers live in poverty, and 500,000 of them are children. According to a recent report by the Community Service Society in 2023, 1/3 of New York City's moderate income households endured food insecurity. 1/3 could not afford childcare, and 21% could not afford internet. According to Con Edison's Collections Activities Report, as of February 2025, nearly 500,000 customers across the service territory are behind by 60 days or more in their bill, with a total outstanding dollar amount exceeding $900 million. We've talked a lot about statistics today, and I know I've just named many of them, but these statistics aren't just numbers. They're the real people and real families of New York. Just this month, just myself, a recent survivor of domestic violence trying to make it on her own, an elderly homeowner who's afraid to turn up the heat and is cold all the time, and a parent of 2 young children who said her utility bill keeps her up at night. The list goes on, but the one thing they all have in common is that they're Con Ed customers. For so many New Yorkers, a utility bill increase of anywhere from $14 to $60 per month will force painful decisions about which basic necessities they and their families will have to go without. Saying all this, Pulp respectfully asks the Commission to carefully scrutinize Con Edison's rate request to make sure that the rates customers will be paying are necessary, just, and as reasonable as possible. Thank you so very much to the members of the public who came to share their stories today. We recognize that that is not easy to do. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on behalf of the Public Utility Law Project.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker will be Valina McCoy. And Ms. Nobrick, I just ask that you hit the raise hand function again to lower the hand. Thank you. Valina McCoy, if you're participating by telephone, you would hit *3. If you are participating electronically, you would use the raise hand function. Okay, not seeing anyone. We'll go on to Kenny Herzog. Kenny Herzog, I believe you're participating electronically. There we go. It looks like you've been unmuted. Oh, not yet. We're just waiting to unmute you. Bear with us. Okay, it looks like you've been unmuted now.
Okay, we good?
Sounds good.
Thank you. My name is Kenny Herzog, Kennyherzog, and I am both a trustee for the Village of Tarrytown and lifelong New Yorker and Con Ed customer. I'm not speaking on behalf of the whole Tarrytown Board of Trustees, just myself. Everyone here has spoken and will continue to speak eloquently and passionately about issues of fairness and the unthinkable trade-offs millions of New Yorkers must make when calculating their cost of living. What I want to emphasize is the need for more transparency from Con Ed about its own calculations and a clearer window into its processes. For all that the company is investing in repairs and modifications, and despite its attunement to shareholders' expectations, all of which has been addressed here as well, it seems to invest comparatively little in communicating its methodology to the public and puts the onus on busy families and individuals to sort through convoluted fine print and legalese after the fact to puzzle out why their utility bills nearly exceed a month's rent. It's very simple. Give genuine public advocates, not just industry professionals and political appointees, a seat at the proverbial table, heed their perspective, empower them to report back to their communities for input and feedback, be forthcoming about how suppliers are selected and what the downstream implications will be for customers. And once rates and changes are implemented, be proactive and plain spoken in preparing them for what to expect and be rigorous about reinforcing accessible customer service. Treat all of us like stakeholders and everyone will benefit from a more efficient, reliably funded, and mutually rewarding utility. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Elizabeth McCorvey. Elizabeth McCorvey, so you're participating electronically. Please hit the please hit the raise hand function so we can identify you. Just give us a moment. It looks like you've been unmuted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, we can.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth McCorvey, and I represent the Family Resource Center of Peekskill. We are an affordable housing not-for-profit, and I would like to urge Con Ed and the regulators not to increase the utilities, and see if Governor Hochul and the county and Con Edison can implement some type of subsidies to help our low to moderate income impoverished clients be able to help them pay the delinquent arrears like was given with COVID. So we would appreciate whatever help that we can get, because if the people aren't able to pay the higher utility rates, it's just gonna cause them to be evicted for not having utilities, thus overburdening our county, increasing the number of homeless people in our local shelter system within Westchester County. So thank you very much. And I appreciate you guys doing something to help our struggling not-for-profit to help the poor.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Gail Tierney, T-I-E-R-N-E-Y. If you're participating by phone, you would hit *3. That's Gail Tierney. I'm not seeing anybody. We'll move on to William Schrag. And I believe Mr. Schrag is participating electronically. You would just hit the raise hand function at the bottom of your screen. Okay, it looks like your line has been unmuted. William Schrag, you are on the line, and your line is no. It looks like he may be having difficulties.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much for holding this hearing, and thank you for recognizing me. I'll be brief. I echo the sentiments of many.
Can I just, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but just please spell your name for the record so that we have it correctly spelled.
Sure. William Schrag, S-C-H-R-A-G.
Thank you, and I apologize for interrupting you. Go ahead.
That's fine. I was about to say I really echo the sentiments of several elected officials from Westchester, where I live, County Executive Jenkins, and legislators Judah Holstein, Erica Pierce, David Imamura, and the comment that I had was made about 2 or 3 speakers ago by the widow from, I believe, Westchester as well, who spoke about her $900 or $1,000 bill. Thankfully, I'm not a widower, but I received a whopping bill this past year. I thought it was high last year, but it actually was 50%, not 15, 50% higher in January and February. I don't understand it, particularly since I wasn't in the house. My son was here, and he was using space heaters in order to try to conserve energy. To the extent that these bills include a delivery component, those need to be considered when rates are set, because they're being passed on to the consumer one way or the other. So again, I thank you for the time and opportunity to speak. I just wanted to give an anecdotal example of something that I experienced. I urge you to not only reject the current rate increase, but investigate all elements of bills that are being passed on to the customers, particularly the delivery component. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is David Fabris, Fabris. If you're participating by telephone, you would hit *3. I'm not seeing anyone. We'll go on to Tasha Green. Tasha Green. No, we'll move on to Marcia Earle, E-A-R-L-E. Okay, just bear with us 1 second while we unmute your line. Okay, your line has been unmuted.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Marcia Earle, M-A-R-C-I-A-E-A-R-L-E. I am a resident of the town of Newcastle in Westchester County. I also submitted a written statement to this body, so I'll be brief. I am just speaking in opposition to the proposed rate increase. I don't see that it's justified. It has been heartbreaking this afternoon to hear the concerns and the stories of all the others who have testified this afternoon. And so I urge the Public Service Commission to reject Con Ed's rate increase as unreasonable and not in the public interest. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just ask, please hit the star. Thank you, you've taken care of it. Our next speaker is Susie Gevar, or Gevar, G-E-V-A-R. Okay. It looks like your line has been unmuted.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. I'm a single mother living in Yonkers, New York. I'm considered middle class and therefore unable to receive any subsidies or any assistance on these outrageous bills. My current bill from Con Ed has an electricity fee of, for the supply, $85.90. The delivery charge is $163.36. My gas charges are $280.12 for the supply. My delivery charges are $631.84. This brings my bill to $1,161. The previous month, I paid $1,521. In this particular bill, the usage for supply of electricity and gas was approximately $350, and the delivery charges were $800 roughly. I basically want to echo what Kenny Herzog previously stated in the fact that Con Ed should be using simple language and transparency. I think Con Ed should be investigated as well as the Public Service Commission. We have a monopoly here, and our legislators, our council people, no one seems to be able to even explain how Con Ed has gotten to this point where we have no choice in our delivery fees. And yet they are twice, 3 times the charges of our supply. All Con Ed does is basically advertise how to be more energy efficient, to use something during off hours. Well, I'm working all day and I'm not using as much as Con Ed seems to think I'm using, and yet their bills are still astronomical. A coworker of mine had a $2.50 supply charge and a $45 delivery fee. Aside from there not being any transparency, because in their delivery charges, the breakdown is basic service charge, includes the first 2.9 therms, remaining 3.13 therms at a different rate, and then the monthly rate adjustment at a different rate, system benefits charge, GRT and other tax surcharges, sales tax at 4.5, and that brings my gas charges. What does all that mean? I'm not an electrical engineer. I'm not any kind of engineer, and there's nowhere for me to actually get a simple explanation as to what all that is. In fact, the Public Service Commission itself, years ago, was contacted by me. It took them over 6 months to try to deal with Con Ed to figure out my billing charges. And they finally came back and said to me, Con Ed has agreed to go to zero and we'll start fresh, because they can't even explain to us how they came up with these charges. There needs to also be many more advertisements regarding these upcoming hearings, because thanks to Shanae Williams, from my legislator at Westchester County, I would not have been aware of this public hearing, and I have not been aware of previous public hearings. I also don't feel that a company should be doing their upgrades for clean energy or clean technology on our backs. I want a new refrigerator. Am I going to come to the Public Service Commission to say, hey, can you pay me so I can upgrade this piece of appliance? Who is looking out for us? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Tom Pinto. Looks like you're participating electronically. Please hit the raise hand function on the bottom right side. Thank you. Just bear with us 1 second while we try to unmute you. Your line should be unmuted. Okay, we can't hear you you have to make sure you're unmuted on your end.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I appreciate it. I would like to frame my comments in terms that everyone can relate to, and I'm referring to dollars and cents, relative dollars and cents. As a lifelong New York State resident, recently retired after a 40-year career in the financial services industry, which has never been confused with low pay, I can tell you that double-digit salary increases among non-senior executives were never the norm at firms at which I worked. And those firms include two $1 trillion companies. So I think it's fair to say that the large majority of other residents of the state do not enjoy or did not enjoy double-digit salary increases. In light of this, it is tone deaf and unconscionable for Con Ed to submit an increase over 10%. Likewise, it would be equally, if not more tone deaf and unconscionable for the PSC to approve it. I therefore urge you to reject it in good conscience. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. And may I ask you please hit the raise hand function again, Mr. Pinto? Thank you. Our next speaker will be Sharon Matzner. Sharon Matzner, if you're participating by telephone, please hit *3. And if you're participating electronically, it would be the raise hand function. Not seeing anyone, I'll move on to Patricia Alexander. Okay, not seeing anyone. Edmund Cianava. It's Cienava.
Yes, speaking.
Okay, could you just please spell your name for the record, and then you may give your comment?
Sure. First name Edmund, E-D-M-U-N-D. Last name Cienava, C-I-E-N-A-V-A. And before I start, thank you so much for hosting this this forum and taking all the slings and arrows that many of the customers here are speaking about. I think the majority issue that most of us are seeing is really in the delivery charge, whether it's for electric or for gas. And it's within the second tier of the delivery charge where most of the problem seems to occur. Frankly, I don't even understand. I understand what it is, but I don't understand why it's being done. And specifically, this has been done for quite some time. I looked back at my old bills, and back in 2017, it was the second tier was a 5-cent charge. In 2023, it went up to $1 a charge, and then recently it's $1.33 a charge. This second tier really assumes that it's heating gas. I'll be honest with you. There's no distinction between cooking gas, heating gas, or any other type of gas. A burn is a burn. So why do we even have this system? I know why. It allows you to have different rate charges to create confusion as to what the bill is. I would simply ask Con Ed, do they pay an actual use type of charge when they receive gas on international and national pipelines? Remember, Con Ed is neither a producer nor a manufacturer of gas. They're a wholesaler and a retailer. They basically take it from someone else that produces it and sends it to us. Those pipelines that are charging, they're not charging them a difference based upon whether it is for heating or cooking or anything else. It is a throughput. It's what gets put through the line. Now, I'm not sure if the Public Service Commission really quite understands it. I noticed some of them are relatively new. They're, 3 of them have been appointed in the last year. And I do notice that many of them have been posted since the 2021 or right around the pandemic. And it seems like most of these problems have come about at this point. I should hope that they realize if they are, and many of them have a background that seems to be more not in traditional hydrocarbons, but more specifically into renewables. And guess what? Renewables account for 8% of our overall energy mix. If you were to put that in terms of blood in your body, could your body run on 8%? No. So we need to look past whether we are creating and taking items that are only for green energy purposes or not, and move past this and look at things differently. I would suggest re-looking at completely the methodology of billing on a delivery charge, whether it's gas or electric, and to have it subsectioned out between cooking gas or heating gas is nonsensical. And again, the gas doesn't know the difference between the two. I appreciate the time and I appreciate the effort, and I concur with almost everyone's sentiment that this is a problem. And I tell you, I'm looking at a gas bill right here, which was $2,996. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Joel Dichter. Okay, just bear with us while we get you on your line unmuted. It should be unmuted now, Mr. Dichter.
Good evening, Your Honor.
Good evening.
Thank you for Joel Dichter of Dichter Law, spelled D-I-C-H-T-E-R. And thank you to Chairman Christian and Commissioners Bright and Majori for attending this evening, and to your honors. I'm appearing today on behalf of some 33 municipalities in Westchester County. This is a first, that they have come together in response to the outcries from their constituents about Con Edison bills and the need to participate and do so. So we will be a party to proceeding, And in my comments today, I will not get into revenue requirement or revenue allocation or rate design, but rather the real world impact. For your information and for the record, the communities that have come together and retained us to appear in the rate case are the cities of New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, Peekskill, Rye, and Yonkers, the towns of Bedford, Cortland, Eastchester, Greenberg, Mamaroneck, Newcastle, Ossining, Pelham, Rye, and Yorktown, and the villages of Ardsley, Briarcliff Manor, Buchanan, Croton-on-Hudson, Domus Ferry, Elmsford, Hastings-on-Hudson, Irvington, Mamaroneck, Ossining, Pelham Manor, Portchester, Rybrook, Scarsdale, and Tarrytown. And we have already entered appearance on behalf of them, and the city of White Plains and the village of Tuckahoe will shortly be joined, have voted to join, and pending our resolutions in North Castle, Sleepy Hollow, Pleasantville, Bronxville, and Mount Pleasant. So this is, to my experience, an unprecedented group pulling together to respond to what is happening with Con Edison rates. We've heard that rates are going up 11% and 13%, but we've also been very interesting during these comments. A lot of the focus has been on delivery charges, and the base delivery charges are going up that are proposed by Con Edison much more. For electric, it's 19%. For natural gas, it's 25.1%. This, of course, will have a major impact on customers and on their cost of living and their ability to pay. While affordability programs are excellent, they do not address the middle class and the vast majority of customers. So we would ask, moving forward, that there be a recognition of the rising costs, not just of just and reasonable rates to the utility, but the impact on rising costs of everything, of groceries, of eggs, of cars, of education, of healthcare, all to be factored in to determine what can be done here. You know, the commission has developed a number of great programs, forward-looking programs, but here we have to consider in this instance whether belt tightening is required and balancing those interests to make sure that rates are fair and to customers and they can have ability to pay and stop experiencing such massive increase as opposed here. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Dichter, I just ask that you hit the raise hand function again too, so we can move on. Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Zainabu Sesay Harrell. It's SESAY Harrell, HARRELL. If you are participating by telephone, please hit *3. If you're participating electronically, you would hit the raise hand function at the bottom right of your screen. Okay, don't see anyone. Moving on. Penny Paul Barton. Penny Paul Barton. Okay. Paul Babich, BABYCH, Paul Babich. I see, I'm sorry, must be Penny Paul Barton. It looks like your line has been unmuted. And if you're muted on your end, you would have to unmute that as well. We are unable to hear you. It's showing that you've been unmuted on our end. Okay, I'll give you a moment to see if you can unmute yourself. Okay, we're going to have to move on. We'll come back to you. So I believe Paul Babich may be on the line. Okay, Mr. Babich, you have been unmuted. Again, if you have mute on your end, you would have to unmute yourself. We cannot hear you, so I will wait a moment and see if you can unmute yourself, and then if not, we'll move on and we'll come back and try you again. No, okay, we'll try you again. You may want to call, log back in. Jeremy Tavares, if you're calling in, it's *3. Otherwise, it's the raise hand function. Not seeing anybody. Rosa DeSoto Harrison. It's *3 or raise hand function. Moving on, Samantha Cochran. It's Kokrhoun. Moving on, Richard Connolly. If you are participating by phone, it's *3. Otherwise, it's the raise hand function. And our next speaker, Emilio Coleman. Okay, moving on, Monica Mercola. Not seeing anybody. I'm going to move on to Alyssa Couture. Okay, your line has been unmuted. Could you please state and spell your name for the record, and then you can give your statement.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. My name is Alyssa Couture. I'm a staff attorney with the Legal Aid Society Bronx office, their housing unit. I'm representing a tenant of Building 1859 Walton Avenue in the Bronx, New York. I'm not sure if this is the proper forum for this matter, but I would appreciate, if not a contact to discuss this matter. I'm calling about a building-wide service turnoff. Con Ed has informed tenants of this building that they'd be cutting off services due to the owner's failure to pay their bills. I have attempted to contact.
Yeah, this is not the appropriate forum. This is actually if you have a comment on the pending rate cases by Con Edison, what you would want to do is contact the Department of Public Service. If you go onto the website, you'll find contact information, and I'll ask Esmond if you have that information handy, that you could provide the telephone number. I don't have it offhand. And if not, what I'll do is I have your name, and if you just give me, I can contact you or you can call me. My name is James Costello, and I can provide you the correct route to go.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, they have the information. They're showing it now on the. So if you call this, let's see. No, the 1-800 number is not. Okay, so for shut off information, it's 1-800-342-3355.
All right. When I called this number, I was told that they would not speak to me because it was the owner's bill. So I will try again with the knowledge.
Then try also 1-800-342-3377.
Thank you for your help.
Okay, good luck with it. Okay, Benjamin Faber. If you are participating by telephone, please hit *3. Okay, not seeing anyone. Yvette Banks. Okay, moving on to Kenneth Rosenblum. If you're participating by phone, star 3. Otherwise, the raise hand function. Moving on to Kathy Glass. Kathy Glass. Our next registered speaker is Lativia Serdiman. It's S-E-R-D-I-M-A-N, Lativia Serdiman. If you're calling in, it's star 3. Otherwise, it's the raise hand function. Okay, moving on to Mary McMillan. Mary McMillan. Marion Macoletti. Marion Macoletti. It's M-A-C-O-L-E-T-T-I. Seeing anyone, we'll move on to Mark Timmerman. Mark Timmerman. Barbara Pierce. And if you're calling in, it's star 3. Barbara Pierce. And we'll go to Jaquetta Hogan. Jaquetta Hogan. And then the last person we have registered is Richard Pizzullo. Richard Pizzullo. Okay, we have us. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just, I'm going to read through the list of the names of people who I called earlier who have not appeared. It doesn't look like anyone else has joined us, but I'm going to do that. And if you are participating by telephone, you would hit star 3. Before I get to that, I see there's Elima Gamarati who has their hand raised. Could you just unmute? You have been unmuted. Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm
Say
here.
that again. Okay, yes.
Okay. Yes, hi, how are you? Just a few things.
You're going in and out. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we can barely hear you. Sometimes we can, and sometimes we can't.
I said, can you hear me?
No, you had it at one point where we could hear you. Now we can't. It's so very low.
Can you hear me now?
It's very low. Is there any way you could get closer to the microphone, or?
Can you hear me?
That's better. Yes.
Okay. Yes, hi, my name is Linda Gamarati. I live in Valhalla, and I've been with Con Edison since 1978. And I've always had level billing. And every year, at the end of the year, my bill was always a credit, or I broke even, or I got money back. In the past 2 years, especially this year, I have had low electricity bills, low gas bills that were under $100 for both gas and electric. My bills are outrageous. I am a senior. I live at home. I'm by myself, and I wasn't even home for almost a month and a half, and my bills were just ridiculously expensive. I'm speaking on the behalf of me and my children who are trying to raise a family. Our bills are over $1,500, $900, and this is actually criminal. It's actually criminal. I've called Hochul's office. I was on the phone with Shelley Bayer's office, and she had said that she tried to put a cap on this current year of not at 6%, and to raise it again next year for people who cannot afford these bills. And they actually threaten you and say, oh, if you don't pay your bill, you're going to be this, you're going to be that, whatever the situation may be. When the CEO of Con Edison is making millions of dollars and we have to be accountable for this, it's unacceptable. I'm sorry. It's causing people to move out of New York State because they just can't afford it. When New Jersey has a lower rate and they're very happy. I'm just very upset, and I have to sell my home and move in with someone because I just can't afford to live here anymore. That's what I just have to say. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no, I thank you for your comment, and please, can you just spell your name so that we have it correctly for the record?
Gammarati. So for one question I just have is that
We don't. This is not a forum for answering questions.
okay, so let me just say my electric bill for the month of this past month was $21. My gas bill was $89. My total bill together between the both is over $500. So the service fees can't even go any higher than they are now. It's criminal. It's criminal.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Okay, I am going to just call out the name of people who I called earlier who were not there. If you're participating, just hit *3 if you're participating by telephone, and the raise hand function if you're participating electronically. And I'm just going to read out the names. So if you hear your name, either hit *3 or the raise hand function, and then we'll go through whoever we identify from there. So Stephanie Utterback, Donna Sheriffs, Kelly Verdeschi, Stacy Karras, Rita Reynolds, David Schwiddick, Mark Svensson, Dion Lewin, M. Chu, Andrew Newman, Sheila Collins, Miriam Lugo Pagan, Daniel Burns, Ainsley Walsh, Anna Peppa, Amy Aquino, Madeline Mound, Rosa Patino, Suzanne Lester, Robert Severance, Peter Bianchi, Gabriela Romero, Laura Mastrangelo, Gamze Ceylon, Kimberly Scarcella, Valina McCoy, David Fabris, Tasha Green, Sharon Metzner, Patricia Alexander, Zainaba Sese Harel, Penny Paul Barton, Jeremy Taveras, Paul Babich. Now I know that Penny Paul Barton and Paul Babich were on earlier, and we were unable to get them to be able to hear them. So if you sign back in, please hit *3 or raise hand function. Jeremy Taveras, Rosa DeSoto Harrison, Samantha Cochrane, Richard Connolly, Emilio Coleman, Monica Mercola, Benjamin Faber, Yvette Banks, Kenneth Rosenblum, Kathy Glass, Lativia Sertiman, Mary McMillan, Marianne Macaletti, Mark Timmerman, Barbara Pierce, Jaquetta Hogan, and Richard Pizzulo. Yep. Okay. So we've reached the end of our hearing, and I want to thank everyone who provided comments today. And I'd also like to remind you that we'll be holding another virtual hearing this evening, beginning at 5:30 p.m. And we will be holding two more hearings tomorrow virtually, one at 1 p.m. and the other at 5:30 p.m. And also, as I stated earlier, we will be scheduling in-person public statement hearings throughout Con Edison service territory. A notice of those hearings will be issued in due course. And for anyone that did not make a statement and would like to provide comments through other means, you can do that through the department's website at www.dps.ny.gov, by regular mail, or by telephone. Yep, okay, we have two call-in speakers, sorry, before I just noticed. So let's take in call-in user 17 first. Your line has been unmuted.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Turnbull, Rebecca Turnbull, and I'm a small business owner in Croton-on-Hudson, New York. And I just wanted, and I also live in Croton-on-Hudson, New York, and I just wanted to speak up for the small business community that the rates for commercial spaces are even more crazy than they are for residential races. And as a really small, I own like a pastry shop that's like 800 square feet. It's really small. My profit margin is razor thin, and if the rates go up on top of all the other inflationary stuff with cost of goods, I just don't really know how long I can hang on. So I just want to urge you to not let Con Ed raise their rates, and even really take a look at those delivery charges, because even before I opened and had any equipment in there, I was using like almost no electricity, and my bills were, you know, over $500, and that's before I even had my fridges and equipment in there. So we need to protect our small business community, because we're the anchors of all of these little villages around here and in the city as well, and we can't afford higher electricity rates, because we're already at our breaking point. So thank you for the hearing, and I hope you guys make the right decision.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Okay, we'll turn to call-in user 40. Okay, your line has been unmuted.
I'm sorry. I would like to know, when is the hearing going to be in Westchester? Where are they going to?
They haven't been scheduled yet. They will be scheduled, and a notice will be issued once they are scheduled.
Okay, where will the notice be issued?
Well, the notice gets issued on the Department of Public Services website. We generally also have some form of notice published in newspapers of general circulation in the different locations in which their service, Con Edison service territory would be. And there's a press release that the Department of Public Service also issues.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, I see Susie Gavar. Let us unmute that line, please. Okay, your line has been unmuted.
Hi. Yeah, is there any way that Con Ed can send out a notice stating when in our
This is not
locations?
we have them send out a notice. It's not to we have them publish a notice. That's what we do. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact our office. Okay, this
No,
is
what I'm saying is that you guys publish notices in newspapers, but it's not an effective way of getting to everybody.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, with that, we are going to close our hearing. I thank everyone for their comments, and have a good evening. And if anyone that's interested, again, we'll have public statement hearings again at 5:30 this evening, at 1 p.m. and 5:30 tomorrow. We're off the record.
Yes, sir. We're off the record.
Thank you everyone for attending the public statement hearing. I will be closing the event. Thank you.